Hello, everyone. Welcome to Tuesday Night Live with independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator Teresa Harper. I'm located in Oregon in the United States. I am so happy that you have joined me today, and happy annual catalog launch day. We have some brand new product from the 2025-2026 annual catalog. And we're going to do some tutorials with that today. So we're going to start with the beautiful gallery suite collection. I do not have the entire collection, but we're going to use some of what I do have. So let's go ahead and see who's on. I can show you the inside of the catalog today because it's live to customers. And I will see who we get. Too much fun with the new product. So we're going to be using the Gallery Blooms stamp set and coordinating dies tonight. And that's pretty much that's pretty much everything from this suite that we're using. So hopefully everybody has their annual catalog. By the way, that was on pages 54 and 55. We're also going to be using a sentiment from The Right Words. And this is not the right one for this particular. I had to put that in the other one. That's for our second card. Hello, Cynthia. Okay. So we're going to be using the Gallery Blooms, like I said. And I've got the coordinating dies. And the really cool thing about these dies, not only can you cut all these images, but you also get extra pieces. And then you get this really cool frame. I used this frame to do a sketch butterfly card a couple of weeks ago. So if you want to see how that works, go back and check that out. Let's see if I have that card. Yep, I do have that card handy. This is the card we made, and I used this die to cut these frame layers, and then I just layered some basic black rectangles behind those cutouts for that card. So we've got those. And then we're going to be using a sentiment from Year of Flowers, because that's one of my favorite stamp sets for sentiments. And let's see, I don't even know what I did with that. Man, I have my stamp sets all messed up. So we're going to be using the Hoping Your Day Blooms with Happiness from Year of Flowers. This was an online exclusive release in March. At least I've got the right bundle here for my supplies. Okay, and then we're going to be doing a little bit of coloring. So I guess what I've done is I grabbed the wrong, no, because this one goes with that one. I don't know what I've done. I must have been half asleep earlier. Okay, so we're going to start with one of the new in colors. This is Cloud Cover, and this is going to be our card base. It's a standard A2, 5.5 by 8.5. Hello, Tracy. So glad you could join us. Happy to be done with your duties. Okay. Then I have a piece of the Secret Sea cardstock. This is cut at 4 by 5.25, and I have already embossed that with the Forever Plaid 3D embossing folder. Okay. And then from the Impressions of Bloom bundle, this is a brand new online exclusive bundle that released today. And it's a really nice flower set, and then it has these coordinating dies, and we're going to be using this large oval die, which I have already cut from Cloud Cover. So that's what that looks like, and this is embossed using the Exposed Brick 3D embossing folder. This is one of my favorite embossing folders because it's very subtle yet has a very nice effect. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with our stamping. It's a pretty basic card once you get things stamped up. So we're going to start with the large floral image. Hello, Jennifer. Hello, Christopher. How are you? And we're going to ink this up in Memento Tuxedo Black. I'm going to be using some Stampin' Blends on this. So let's go ahead and stamp that down. And then we're also going to be using the hyacinth, or whatever this is. It reminds me of a hyacinth. Maybe it's not one, but that's what I'm calling it. And we need 2 of those. Okay. And then we should still have enough for our sentiment down here. Okay. So let's go ahead and get our coloring wheel here. Just makes things easier for me. And I'm not going to color everything because I have done that ahead to save us some time. But I did want to show you how I did some of the coloring. Okay. And I'm going to start with these little guys here. And I wanted them to be Secret Sea and Cloud Cover. And I don't have Stampin' Blends at this point. You can order them as of today, and I did, but when I created this card, I didn't have that, so I made do with what I had, and this works great. So we're going to take some Stampin' Write marker. These come in a pack of 5, and you get all 5 of the in colors. 25 to 27 in colors, and you get 5 of them. So Secret Sea, Cloud Cover, Timid Tiger, Strawberry Slush, and Darling Duckling. And we're going to use Secret Sea, and I'm going to take the brush tip, and I'm just going to dot a little bit of color at the base of these little flowers. Doesn't have to be perfect. We don't want to overdo it. We just want a little bit of the dark Secret Sea in here. Okay, and then we would do that on both flowers. And then we're going to take the Cloud Cover. And again, I'm going to go back now, and I'm just going to go over the top and fill those flowers in. Just dabbing color. Not trying to be perfect with this. Just dabbing. Okay. And there is our flower. Okay, then for the leaves on here, we're going to take dark old olive. And I'm just going to flick in a little bit of the dark color on the artist's areas there. I call them the artist color me lines, and then I'm going to go back with the light old olive and color that in. Okay. All right, so that's that. Now let's do one of these large flowers here. And for that, we're going to use the Timid Tiger Stampin' Write marker along with the Peach Pie blends. Hello, Laura. So I'm going to start with Timid Tiger. And again, I'm going to the brush. And I am going to dab in again, flick in some color here where there would be shadows of darker color. Okay. And then I'm just going to dab in some here in the center using the side of my brush. Okay. Want just a little bit of dark right there. And then I'm going to go with my dark peach pie. I'm going to go back and I'm going to blend up over top and a little bit higher than that Timid Tiger Stampin' Write marker. Add in just a little bit darker color there. And then I'm going to finish that up with the light peach pie. I'm going to blend that back into the darker colors. And that will help my color not bleed out outside my lines. And it overlaps so that those colors lines are not obvious. Okay, and then I would do that with those other two flowers and finish those leaves with some Granny Apple Green. And again, I'm going to put in the dark on the Color Me lines here by the artist, and then down by the flowers where there would be a shadow with the petals. Okay, a little bit here and here. And then we will finish that off with the light Granny Apple Green, just to blend those colors together. And there we have it. And then of course I would do all of those flowers. Okay, and then we can use the coordinating die to cut those out. We're going to use these again, so I'm going to throw these over in my other container. Done with those. And then we'll cut those out. And here we have our completed pieces cut with the coordinating dies. Okay, I love the coordinating dies because they just make everything so nice. You've got this nice big one here. It cuts out these center holes for you, which I find you can tell here when you look at this. These little inner pieces right here cut out those center hole pieces on that and make those look really nice. Okay, and then of course we've got the coordinating die for that. Okay, so let's go ahead and start putting this together because those are our pieces. we need to stamp our sentiment. I've already pre-die cut a sentiment label, and this label comes from dies on the last chance list, and the stamp set is no longer available, but the dies are. It's the Enduring Beauty dies, and it's this large sentiment label right here. You can use whatever you have on hand, or you could use the die that we're going to be using for the next card, because it will also cut this sentiment, and that is from Unbounded Love, and that is about the same size. Okay, this one used a different one from what I was already using, and this one, when I made this card, was everything was available, but we've got this now. So let's go ahead and grab our sentiment, which I apparently did not pull out. So let's grab that from Year of Flowers. No, oh, hang on. I know where I put that. I did have it out. I have that all set up and ready to go on my stamp positioning tool. So I've taken a sticky grid sheet and lined and put my label down, lined up my stamp. I'm going to take my Secret Sea ink, ink up that stamp, and I'm going to give that a nice press, and I'm happy with that. So I'm just going to lift that up, and there's our sentiment all completed. Okay, and let's go ahead and clean this so we don't get a mess. Just take a chamois, and then we can set this aside. All right, let's assemble. Aw, thanks, Tracy. Glad you like those. I really like the Timid Tiger with the peach pie. I really think it makes everything pop. So we're going to take this piece of Secret Sea, and because this is a 3D embossed image, I'm going to use some Tombow multi-purpose liquid glue. I'm going to adhere that to my card front. Like so. Okay. And then we're going to take that piece of cloud cover that we cut from the Impressions of Bloom and embossed with the exposed brick. And we're going to put our flowers on there. So we're going to pop these up. I'm going to pop the large floral group up. And I'm going to be picky about where I put things because I want to be able to tuck behind. So those three should do what I need them to do. Oh, but before we do that, boop, just a little bit of Wink of Stella. And then we'll add this to our card base. Or to our oval here. And I'm just going to put that right about there. Okay. And then we're going to take one of these and we're going to slip that in behind there. And I want that to be flat, but I also want it to stick up a bit. So I'm going to take and put a small mini here. And then we'll just take some Stampin' Seal. I'm going to tuck that in here. Like so. And then we're going to bring this one in, and because it is going over the top of what we've already done, I want to put a couple of mini dimensionals here and there. And then again, here on the bottom, it's going to use a little bit of Stampin' Seal. Pull these off. Put this down here, kind of like that. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and add this to our card base. And again, I'm going to do that with some multi-purpose liquid glue. Just like so. Try to center that as best we can. And then we're going to take some linen thread. And I'm going to take this and I'm going to wrap it around my fingers a couple of times. Trim that off. And then I'm going to take this and turn it into a figure 8, like so. And this is going to go down here, like that. But I'm going to take a glue dot. And I'm going to put this about right here to hold that kind of in place. Whoa. Let's get that one back. It's being unruly. Okay, so kind of got that. Get another glue dot. This piece just has decided it just doesn't want to behave, and that's okay. Let's just tame it a bit. All right. And then we're going to take our sentiment piece. I'm going to add some dimensionals on either end. So we're going to go over all that stuff in the middle. And try to get this to sit how we want it. Put this down here like this. And then all those pieces will now be tamed where we want them. Okay, and we're almost finished. We just need to add some gems. And where did those disappear to? Right here. I'm going to be using the 2025 to 2027 in color flat pearls. I love these things. They're so beautiful. And we're going to take, actually, we're going to open another package because I want some smaller ones. And I'm pretty much out of the smaller ones I want. So we're gonna take a medium-sized Secret C. I'm gonna put that here. I'll take a smaller cloud cover. My sentiment does not appear to be straight. Let's fix that. Okay, and then I want a large Secret C. So I'll put that down here. Actually, no, I don't. Let's pull that back up. I want a large cloud cover. Let me put that right there. Okay, and there is our first card for tonight. Using the Gallery Blooms bundle. Okay, and for the inside of our card, let's see. Where is my, I don't know what I did with my thing now. With my pieces in it. Oh, apparently I didn't do that. That's too funny. I didn't make up the extra pieces, but this is what the inside is supposed to look like. I could have swore I did do this, but I'm not sure where those pieces went. So here we go. Here's the inside and the envelope. Okay, so there's our first card. Hope you like that. Thank you so much. Yeah, I really like the way the flowers pop against that background. You're right, Tracy, that it is striking. Okay, so let's move on to card number 2. Let's get a few of these things put away that we aren't going to be using. And move on to the next. Okay. So for the next card, you guys, cloud cover is my favorite new in color, and I really like the cloud cover and Secret C combination. So again, our card base for this one is going to be cloud cover. In addition to the Gallery Blooms, I'm using Unbounded Love for this sentiment die right here. And I'm using Fancy Borders, and we'll be using this die right here. Okay, so we're going to take a piece of Basic White, and this is cut 3 inches, right? 3 by 5 1/4. Yeah, 3 by 5 1/4. Shoo. Okay, we're going to take the Fancy Border die, and we're going to cut this piece. So what I did to mark this is 5 1/4, and half of 5 is 2 1/2, and half of 1/4 is 1/8. So I'm going to go 2 5/8. I'm just going to mark that at the 2 5/8 inch mark. Okay, and that's just so I know where center is. And then I'm going to put my die on there. Stick that mark at the 5 1/4, and then make sure that I'm even here. And I'm going to pull this out to the edge. Okay, I'm using my grid to line everything up. Okay, and then we'll tape that down so it doesn't move in our die cut machine, because we don't want to spend all that time lining it up and then have it move on us. So because this is only 3 inches wide, I can use my mini machine and run this through. And we're going to put that on here. And these fancy borders came out, I believe, in the March online exclusives. It comes with a coordinating stamp set. You can buy it in a bundle. But of course, you don't have to. If you just want the dies, then don't get bundled. This is the stamp set, in case you're wondering what that looks like. And this, there is a die that actually cuts this in the fancy borders. Okay, so we've got that. Now we can pull this off carefully. And we can set that aside for another day. And then we've got our piece. Okay, so we're going to take this piece. Let's fold this up. Again, standard A2, 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 5 1/4. And we're going to line this. And then we've got a piece of the Florals in Bloom Designer Series paper. This is out of the annual catalog. And you get 6 double-sided designs, 2 of each. Okay. And I have these so that you can see what's on the back. Okay, and then this is the pattern that we're using, and that's the reverse side. So the piece that I'm using is 1 1/4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. And the idea of this is I found it easiest if I put this on first where I want it. So we're going to add this with some Stampin' Seal. I'm not going to press this down hard though. Okay, and I'm going to line this up. Pull that in. Try to make an even border between the scallop part and the top and the bottom on 3 sides. Okay, and then I'm going to take this piece, I'm going to add it, and I'm going to try to mimic that border on the other sides. Okay, so we can go ahead and add this. Like so, and when we're happy, we'll give that a press. Okay. All right, so now we have the beginnings of our card. Let's go ahead and do a little bit of stamping and some coloring. So from the Gallery Blooms die, we're going to take this little floral. Here it is on the front there. We're going to stamp this 3 times. We need 3 of these. And again, I'm stamping in Memento. And this has a coordinating die, so we'll try to, and of course you're going to need a big piece of paper, but I've already done some of these, so we're good. You'll need 3. All right, so for this now, we are going to do, let me look and see what I did do, because my sample card is a little bit different. Okay, so let's bring in our Stampin' Blends and our Stampin' Write markers. So we need 2 that are Pretty in Pink and Strawberry Slush. Let's start with that. So again, I'm going to take my Stampin' Write marker in the Strawberry Slush. I don't have any blends. And I'm going to flick in some color here. And I'm going to look where the petals overlap and add in a little bit here and there where those overlap. And do the same thing to this one over here. Okay, I need my color wheel. It makes things so much easier for me. Oh, I banged it, sorry. Don't worry about that. Okay, so now I've got my strawberry slush on there. I'm going to go with my Pretty in Pink Dark. I'm going to go over the strawberry slush and up a bit. Oh, I missed a couple petals there, I see. Okay. And we're literally just flicking in a little bit of color. I like to turn my blend as I go so that I'm not making a flat side on my blend. And then I'm going to finish that off with the Pretty in Pink, and I like to flick backward to the inside of the petal so I don't go outside and it doesn't bleed outside. Okay, and then I would color these leaves in Granny Apple Green, just like I did the last ones. I'm not going to do all these because, of course, I have them done. Okay, and we're going around those again. Watch for the artist lines. And then just go back with your light. Try to start where you started before so that you are starting with the older color first so that it doesn't have time to dry before you blend. Okay. All right. And then for the inside of these, I'm just going to take my strawberry slush and I'm going to dot in some color. And then I'm going to go back with the light Pretty in Pink and fill that in. Okay. Now I need two of those in that color. This one we're going to do in Daffodil Delight and Darling Duckling. Okay, so again, I'm going to start with the Darling Duckling. I'm going to flick in some color. And go where those petals overlap. Right there, because that petal overlaps. Okay, then I would go back with the Dark Daffodil Delight, which is this one. Flick in a little color a little bit further out than the Darling Duckling, but still leaving plenty of white. Okay. And then back with my light Daffodil Delight. Flicking back toward the center of the flowers. Turning my blend so I don't end up with a flat spot. Okay. And then I'm going to go back with Timid Tiger. I'm going to put some Timid Tiger in the center of this flower. Dotting that in. And go back with the light Daffodil Delight. And then I would finish those leaves. Cut all three of them out with the coordinating die, which is right here. Okay. And then I would have these. Okay. All right. So that's what we have. And then, of course, I've added some Wink of Stella. Is this too dark, you guys? I didn't turn any lights on because it's so bright in my room right now. Are you doing okay, or do I need to add any? Thanks. Yeah, Tracy, those fancy border dies are a hidden gem. You can do so much with those. Okay, so let's go ahead. I wonder, is this going to make it? Oh, there. That's better, isn't it? Okay, so now we have these. Let's go ahead and bring our card base back in. And we're going to, first I'm going to take my nail. You can do this with a bone folder or your nail. Just be gentle so you don't rip it. Put some Stampin' Seal on this. And I'm going to add this up here. Kind of like that. I'm going to do the same thing with this one, but opposite. Kind of like that. And then for this one, we're going to use some Stampin' Dimensionals. And we're going to pop this one up. Okay. Remove those backings. And then we're going to put this one on so that the center of that flower meets up with the dip in the scallop there. And we are almost finished here. Now we need our sentiment. So I'm going to bring in a piece of cloud cover cardstock. Hang on just 1 second to see where I put it. I need a scrap. Just a little scrap. Okay. That should work. Okay. Actually, let's go this way and give ourselves some room. So from the Right Words, which also released in the annual catalog, where did I put that stamp? Right here. Okay. This is a sentiment only. you've got a happy birthday, you've got some loss, you've got thinking of you, I miss you, I know a good thing when I see it, I wish I had the right words for a time like this, sending good vibes, you're so kind. And then you could do thinking of you a lot. We're going to make this a remembrance card, sympathy card. Forever loved, forever remembered. We're going to take Secret C. Thanks, Tracy. I'm glad you like that coloring. Okay, Secret C on cloud cover here. Got a little tip for you. So I pre-cut a couple of these, but these are going to be too long for what I want. So of course, you know me, I got to alter them. But I want to make sure I'm going to alter it okay. So I've cut out those and I've kept the template. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it down here where I want that. Center that up. Level it out. And then I'm just going to tape that down. Okay. Now I'm going to take the die. I'm going to put this die down here. Right inside that hole. Well, if it'll stay still, I might need to double tape it actually because it's wanting to move and I don't want it to move. I want it to stay like so. Okay, so we'll take that. This is a way to know exactly how your sentiment is going to look on the die cut. Come on. Okay, be stubborn. I'll still win. Okay, so then we're going to take and put this down. Lay that in there. Make sure it's secure, it's not really wobbling. And then we're going to tape this down. Okay, I'm going to bring in my mini machine. And we're going to run that through. Just like that. Oh, wait a minute. I'm going to shorten this. I'm going to bring my top plate up to just before I want it to stop, okay? And now I can pull all of this. I no longer need this. So I can pull that off. I'm going to turn this around. And I'm going to slide this in back into that little groove. Secure it. Put my top plate on only partially because I don't need to double cut. And then I'm going to run that back through. Okay. And now I have a perfectly shortened die cut. Everything's nice and straight. And it's good to go. Okay. So let's go ahead and move that out of the way. Let's get some Stampin' Dimensionals. Let's grab a little bit of gold thread. The gold twisted thread. It is on the last chance list, but I think this would look pretty good with just a little bit of the twisted thread. So let's grab that. Okay. that out of the end there. But this time I'm just going to do just a tiny bit. I don't want a lot. Just want a little bit. I don't want to overpower or take away from what I've got. So we're just going to couple little wraps here. Put this on the back. Kind of like that. And then we'll add this. I want this at more of an angle. I want that at more of an angle. Let's do that. Let's put that in like that. There we go. And then we'll add this on here. Oh, like so. Trim that off. And lastly, we're going to add some antique pearls. And I'm going to color these in this. Oh, I didn't do that. Actually, we're not going to use these because I don't have strawberry slush blends, and that's what I want. Right? So we're going to go back to those in color dots. And add those on. Because these are the colors I want. I want strawberry slush. Give me these. And let's go one small here. And the medium one here. And a larger one here. Want to do that? Nope. I'm going to go with Timid Tiger here. There we go. Just like that. Okay. So there is the front of our card. Now I really did finish this one all the way. So for the inside, I took another one from another sentiment from the Right Words that says, hoping the loss you feel right now will be eased by wonderful memories. And then this stamp also comes from the Gallery Blooms bundle. I love this one too. It makes beautiful envelopes and insides here and backgrounds. And then this is just the reverse side of this piece of Designer Series paper. And I just wanted just the tiniest little bit there at the bottom. And then we're going to put this in here. We've got our matching envelope. And there we are, card number 2. Okay, so let's bring back in card number 1. 2 completely different looking cards using the Gallery Blooms and some of our new product. I hope you've enjoyed these. Yeah, the thing about the remembrance cards is it's nice to make them ahead of time and not have to make them last minute, which is, kind of nice. Have them prepared and ready to go when you need them, so you're not too emotional to make them. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you've liked this sneak peek at some new annual catalog product along with some online exclusives. I will, thank you so much. I will see you all back here next Tuesday night at 7 p.m. And hopefully I'll see you Thursday night on YouTube at 7 p.m. In the meantime, everybody enjoy this fabulous weather. Have a great day. See you soon. Happy stamping. Good night. Thanks, Laura. Appreciate it.